is Off the Podium, the number one Olympics podcast in the world, coming to you once again for a newscast. We're bringing you all the latest news in the world of the Olympics and also continuing on our sports previews ahead of the Milano Cortina Olympics. And what better way to do all of that than bring back the man that you want to hear, America's number one Olympic expert. It's not Donald Trump, it's Jamie Lyko. Hello, Jamie. Welcome back to Off the Podium.
Thank you. And thank you for including me in the same sentence as Donald Trump right off the bat. So that's great.
Honors, you get all the honors. You at least don't claim that you are the Olympic savior for all the world, apparently. So
Not yet, at least.
Not yet. Well, we've got plenty of time. We've got 90 minutes for you to declare that. So we'll see how you go. Before we get into the swing of things, I think been a couple of months. We were on the first couple of these when we brought it back, and then we got rid of you.
Yeah.
Got some Germans.
Sent me out to pasture.
Yeah, we did. More Americans, but you're back. Any Olympic-related things happened to you in your life recently, Jamie, to share, or are you just getting pumped for some winter sports in a few months?
I'm getting excited for winter, and there's always a constant flow of news about LA 28 here in the City of Angels. So
that's exciting. That's what we want, and we're going to get some. I've actually remembered I bought an LA 28 t-shirt.
Oh, there you go.
It's funny. I got a couple of shirts off the Olympic store, and I was like, I should really get an LA one, right? And then before this episode, I'm like, oh, wait, I got an LA t-shirt. I should wear that for the newscast this time around. So here we are. Look at that.
There you go.
I'm still not on board with this changing logo thing, right? Like it's just sort of, it's, I don't know. How do you feel about the changing A's in the LA 28 logo?
I like it. We need anything we can do to keep the energy positive, and if it's going to get people excited, I'm for it.
Okay.
It's a mixed bag in terms of the enthusiasm level about the Olympics right now.
At least
here
you
in
have
Los Angeles.
At least you have a logo and a branding, right? I mean, we're now less than a usual cycle away from Brisbane, and we got nothing. We've still got that boring white thing that says Brisbane host city. I just like to get some branding done, please, Brisbane 2032. Make me excited. I'd like to see that. But we're not here to talk about that. We'll talk about LA after. But we're going to start off with an Australian story, and one that actually you were excited about too, because you sent me a link to this just in case I hadn't seen it. But this was actually quite big news in Australia in the last month. The Moscow Olympic team from 1980 has been formally recognised by the Australian Parliament 45 years later after they went to the Olympics. Now, if people are wondering, well, is Australia a bit slow? Do we just take 45 years to congratulate an Olympic team? Why is that? 1980, of course, renowned for its boycotts. The US famously, of course, led that boycott. If you want to listen to a bit more about that recently, we had Rowdy Gaines on, of course, and he talked about his experiences and him missing those games. And Jamie, you can talk a little bit, of course, about your project that you're doing and a book that you're sort of involved in around that. But Australia did go to those games, but under controversial circumstances. Essentially, our Prime Minister at the time, Malcolm Fraser, was not like Jimmy Carter and saying you can't go, but he was putting pressure on the Australian Olympic team to not go. Australian team did go, and then they basically got a lot of backlash in our country. They were shunned. They weren't celebrated. They won 2 gold medals. They won medals. And essentially it's taken all this time for the Australian government to essentially recognise them. Our Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, hosted a function at Parliament House, formally recognised them in Parliament. So it's in Hansard. People know what Hansard is. It's sort of the formal documents that log the history of Parliament. So it's always going to be on permanent record. And it's a really nice gesture. And to see 50 Moscow Olympians, their families, team officials, they went to Canberra, they did this, and it was a big deal. It made a lot of news here in Australia, which I think it's a very nice gesture. I mean, it's taken a while, but we don't exactly have a strong history in this country of making apologies and doing things that have, clouded our past pretty quickly. So, there is that. But this was a great moment, I think, and a lot of these athletes now getting to tell their stories. They've been in a lot of media here, done a lot of interviews, and sort of saying the reaction that they got all those years ago. And to finally, I guess now, Jamie, be recognised as Olympians, as champions, as heroes of sport, long overdue.
My initial reaction was, why did it take so long? Obviously, I would have thought this would have been a great thing to make part of the Sydney Games. It seems like a no-brainer. Also surprised that, at the backlash. I mean, I guess other countries kind of dealt with it too. In Great Britain, famously, there's the big tradition of the Queen's honors on New Year's Eve. I don't know much about it, but
we do a similar thing.
yeah,
Here.
and and they didn't honor, say Sebastian Coe or Steve Ovett at those, or Alan Wells. Any of them, none of them got honors, which is kind of like, you win a gold medal for Great Britain, you're gonna get mentioned in the Queen's honors. And similarly, Margaret Thatcher put pressure on the British Athletic Association, and I think, because correct me if I'm wrong, but a couple sports from Australia decided not to go.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure also from memory, we competed under a neutral flag. I want to say, I don't think we actually competed under our own national flag. So like, we had the Olympic rings, like you would see in recent times with, say, Russian or, independent nations.
Right. Yeah, that was another competed under the Olympic flag, and apologies for not knowing the name of your national anthem, but you just
don't really need to know our national anthem shit anyway. Advance Australia Fair. But it might have been actually God Save the Queen back then, because I think Advance Australia Fair was only adopted in the 80s from memory. But anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, and then in Moscow, they just played the Olympic anthem. They were one, along with, according to what I have here, Andorra, Denmark, and Ireland, and Puerto Rico all played the Olympic anthem. But you guys were in the opening ceremonies.
We were.
Did take part in that.
Yeah. Which it's, I mean, these are little things that I think a lot of Australians might not even know. I mean, we celebrate the fact that we, alongside Greece, are the only countries to ever have been to every single Summer Olympics, which in its own way is also technicalities there, because we did compete in 2 Olympics under Australasia. So, I mean, technically as Australia, we haven't been to every Olympics, but hey, New Zealand stole the thunder a little bit there. But it's sort of that history of it too, because again, it's not like we just sent athletes and didn't do well. I mean, 2 gold, 2 silver, 5 bronzes, which a lot of people listening, watching now might think, well, that's terrible for Australia. You guys are winning, 5 times as many medals as that now. But in 1980, that was pretty good for us. Like, that was the standard. We would come home with that amount of medals and we'd be very, very proud of it. Our gold medalist, Michelle Ford, she went to the function. She won the 800-meter freestyle in swimming, and we also won the 4x100-meter medley relay in the men's team as well. 2 silver.
One of the best nicknames ever, that relay team.
Which I don't even know that. I think
the Quietly Confident Quartet.
I didn't even know that. There you go. I like that. The Quietly Confident Quartet. Amazing. I see. This is why you come on this show, essentially, to help me with my own Australian knowledge, right? But other athletes, actually. So a big name who went to this one, Ron McKeon, the dad of our greatest Olympian of all time, Emma McKeon, and also her brother David McKeon is Olympian as well. So a very stacked family. The McKeon family. He was there. Emma did go along with her dad, as did David as well there. And as I said, Michelle Ford went there. She was only 18 at those Olympics when she won a couple of medals there as well. And she said that, she received death threats basically when she got home from this. They had to sneak out of the country to get to Moscow and all this kind of backlash on that. So crazy to think that. But you're writing a book. You're going into detail and sort of going over and interviewing a lot of athletes. You've interviewed Australians from Moscow and everything along those lines. So, I mean, are you aware of any other sort of stories like this? Are there other countries or sort of through your research that are maybe recognizing their athletes after all these years, or even face similar backlashes, like as you were saying, Britain did obviously as well, but any other similar stories?
I mean, at least the two I mentioned, Sebastian Coe and Steve Cram, the middle distance runners from sort of Britain's golden era of middle distance running. They both came back and competed in LA 4 years later. And I'm getting, it's not that easy to get Seb Coe on the phone, obviously, but I'd love to know what it was like, feeling pressure from, your fellow countrymen, in 1980, and then just being overwhelmingly celebrated 4 years later must have kind of been a trip. And I'm sure, I think Mark Carey, at least swimmer, went back in 84. And that would leave a bitter taste in my mouth, allowing the political pressure to make people not support the athletes competing. But
do you wish that this was a thing that Jimmy Carter did, that it was maybe more so of a, rather than straight out saying, no, you can't go, we're boycotting, it was more of a, well, you know, if the US OC wants to do it.
I mean, it was a complicated time for American foreign policy, obviously, but it was also a complicated time for the relationship of the federal government and the U.S. Olympic movement. There had very recently sort of passed a major sports act that gave the USOC total rights over the word Olympics and using it in their advertising. And they would get all the money if they signed a contract with, Nikon cameras to be the official sponsor, Olympic sponsor. And they kind of had that in their back pocket to hold over the head of the USOC.
Wow.
Also money for the first time, significant dollars for the first time had been promised during the years between 1980 and the lead up to 1984. And then at the same time, the USOC is having to worry, well, if we boycott this, what's going to happen in the next 4 years? Is LA going to still happen in 1984? So we were the USOC had kind of finally gotten some support from the federal government, but also gotten themselves into a situation where we were kind of at the will of the president and his administration. It was also a time in America where, regardless of party, if the president asked you to do something, it kind of got a different response, say, than it is right now in the United States.
Just a bit.
Senate and the House of Representatives both overwhelmingly voted to support it. Although it wavered, kind of in the months leading up to the boycott, the American people did support it. It wasn't quite the landslide that it was in Congress. But looking back, I've always been baffled. I've been baffled by it, considering we liked so much to beat the Soviets. I mean, after the Miracle on Ice in Lake Placid, we were all beating our chests. I was 3, but I felt like my reaction would have been like, well, let's go beat the Soviets again in their backyard and whip them in track and in basketball and in all these sports. So it's a complicated story, but there are, the sad thing is, there were 460 people that made the 1980 Olympic team, and about a third of them at least competed in 76, and another third, would go on and compete in 1984. But a third of those athletes, they was one and done, and that was their one chance to go to the Olympics, and they had that taken away from them.
It's so crazy. It's a different time, isn't it, to think that a country's government can basically stop you from going. I mean, there are countries in the world where you can probably understand that. That's just the countries that they are, but you don't assume America is going to be one of those. So, and the way the rhetoric at the time was, it was going to be the end of the Olympics, and it wasn't going to survive that. I mean, you had Montreal was a financial disaster and dealt with boycotts. Munich obviously had its serious tragic challenges. It was and it did nothing because the Soviet Union stayed in Afghanistan, which is the reason why we boycotted, was their invasion of Afghanistan in December of 1979. And they stayed in Afghanistan until 1989. So yeah,
lesson to all international and national Olympic committees that boycotts probably aren't going to get a lot done.
And nothing that America did with Afghanistan changed history in the future either. So
yeah, well, I mean,
never heard anything happen after that either. So
we secretly supplied the Punjabi with weapons to fight the Soviets on our behalf, and then everything after.
I saw that Bond movie. Timothy Dalton helped the Taliban. Don't get me started on that. Come on,
I thought you were going to go Rocky 3.
Nah,
or maybe Charlie Wilson's War.
I go Bond. Yeah. I go Bond with that. Just one thing I'll note: you sort of touched on, questioning why it took so long for Australia, and why wasn't this thing in Sydney. Let's just say Australia also, our governments, again, we have long periods of time where it takes them to do apologies. But also when it comes to, say, the Australian Olympic Committee, they also struggle to recognise past athletes. Peter Norman famously shunned for he was shunned till the day he died, let's be honest. But no invitation, no nothing for Sydney 2000. It's still a huge sticking point for a lot of people who know about Peter and his story and everything along those lines. And it was disgusting treatment for a man who did absolutely nothing wrong.
Absolutely nothing wrong.
Absolutely heralded today if he did what he did in today's climate versus, 1968. So anyway.
Yep.
We're grateful that Australia has finally recognised this. Good on you, Albo, our Prime Minister. It's weird probably for you to hear somebody praise their current leader in a country, but for the most part, people like Albo. So what can I say? There you go. He's not claiming credit for the Olympics, unlike others that we'll get to in a moment. So anyway, keep teasing that. How exciting! Next story. This is one that you brought to my attention. I wasn't aware of this one, but I'm glad you did, because this kind of connects back to things we've talked a lot about on this show. People know our history with ski jumpers, and when we discovered a lot about them in the lead up to the Beijing Olympics, particularly with someone like Ali Ludit, we talked about suits and tampering and how important a ski suit is in ski jumping and the technicalities and everything. Like, go back and listen to those. It's very, very fascinating. But Norway, one of the great winter sport nations on the planet, the greatest winter sport nation on the planet, let's be honest, are in a bit of shit because their men's ski jumping team have gotten into trouble for apparently tampering with ski suits at the World Championships. The International Ski and Snowboard Federation saying that ski jumpers Marius Lindvik and Johan Andre Forfang, two coaches and a member of the service staff, were formally charged as part of an investigation into equipment manipulation at the Worlds, which were hosted back in March. And the allegations, which have been backed by video footage, have really shaken the tight-knit community, apparently, when it comes to this, because, ski jumping, they're very, very close. And these modifications can help them fly further with more aerodynamic resistance. Again, go back and listen to our interviews with ski jumpers. They talk about this. It's very, very fascinating. Now, nothing's been handed down in terms of fines or disqualifications or anything like that. But given we are so close to the Olympics here, Jamie, and we could possibly, worst case scenario, Norway could be banned. They could be disqualified. Who knows? This is pretty significant. Norway with no ski jumpers. What's going on here? This is big news.
I mean, I have to be honest. The first time I read the article, I was like, how much could this really make a difference? But you've driven home the point that it is significant. Video, the fact that they have it on video, if you're going to cheat better. It doesn't seem like they did a very good job. I mean, I'll give them credit for immediately admitting guilt. We regret it like dogs, and I'm terribly sorry this happened, Brevik said. So
they did it, basically. That's their exact way of saying, yeah, we fucked up, but we did it.
Yeah. So, I at least appreciate that.
It's a big deal in the fact, too, that we should mention that Mr. Lindvik is the reigning Olympic champion in the large hill. So, it's not just this is some upstart Norwegian who's doing okay in a world championship.
Right.
He won the world championship, so he's a world champion at this event that he's been accused of this happening, but also the Olympic champion as well in this event. So again, this isn't just random ski jumper. This is a big deal.
This calls into question the whole glorious history of Norwegian skiing.
I know, right? I'm going a step further. All of Norwegian winter sports, cheaters. All of you, ban them all.
I mean, think about it though. If it was another sport and it was, performance enhancing drugs, we'd write them off and we'd be like, oh, they've always been tainted. Yeah. Even though, so it'll be interesting to see, like you said, that Norway without ski jumpers or Winter Olympics without Norwegian ski jumpers. Is it even a Winter Olympics?
Well, Forfang himself too is an Olympic gold medalist. Back in Pyeongchang, he won gold in part of the team large hill and a silver in the individual normal hill. So again, Olympic experience going through that gun there. But you're right, it taints the overall team, which is unfortunate because if it is only just two athletes, but people are still asking questions. We don't look at things like this, myopically anymore. I think by nature we've all become, we want the bigger drama. We want the conspiracy theory. So we definitely
you're
do.
Right. It does taint the entire team.
It's not like we've accused any Chinese swimmer of being a drug cheat or any Russian athlete at all of being a cheat just because a few others do it, which, obviously does that. But it remind me, this is going to go straight over your head because you're still trying to work out what cricket is ahead of the LA Olympics. But we had a very infamous scandal in this country, nearly 10 years ago now, I think it was. It's gone by very quickly. But 2 Australian cricketers got caught cheating on the field. They had sandpaper in their pockets and were using it to alter the cricket ball to allow it to turn differently when they bowl it. And I'm sure there's similar examples in baseball where people have tampered balls. Corks in bats, right, if I'm not mistaken, was a big controversy, right? So they got caught on camera, and so they got banned. And I mean, as an Australian, it was very shameful. And, you know, a lot of other cricketing nations call us cheats and everything, and warranted. And one of the 2 players in particular, I just do not like, and I think he should never have been allowed to play again. He's an asshole and a cheat, and made us get into disrepute. But I mean, you know, this could be a similar thing for Norwegian ski jumping. So, but we should have gotten Ali on this. Should have got Ali come on the show. Ali, hey, you got to be going for easier medals now that all the Norwegians are gone, right? Yay! So, maybe that's a ploy. Maybe the Canadians are just like doctoring video footage. Maybe they're just like,
hey,
AI.
You do incredible things with AI. Let's start some more conspiracy theories, Ben.
Can we just like get all the Norwegians disqualified then from all the Olympic sports to give us all a chance? Why am I saying this to an American? I should be saying this for you guys in the Summer Olympics as well, right? Look at this. Look at all these cheating that you're doing in that.
But, I'm sure a few American athletes will figure that out for themselves. Don't worry.
Never. But we'll keep an eye on how that goes. Sad news in the last month. This is very sad on the winter side of things too. The death of Laura Dahlmeier, a German 2-time Olympic biathlete. She died in a mountaineering accident in Pakistan, only 31 years old. This is absolutely tragic. She won 2 gold back in the Pyeongchang Olympics. And across her time in the Biathlon World Championships, she won 7 gold, 3 silver, 5 bronze, 20 World Cup races. She was the first female ever at the Olympics to win a sprint and a pursuit gold at the same games that she did back in 2018. And as I said, retired at 25 in 2019. I mean, God, I'm 38 and I can't even retire. Like, this woman's like achieved so much in her life. But yeah, tragic. And a lot of people just, you know, obviously expressing, you know, sadness for this. It made big news in the Olympic community. And just, just don't know if you have a whole lot to add on this at all, but just, a tragic story of somebody taken way, way too young.
Yeah, I don't think I have nothing else to add. It is incredibly sad. I feel for the family who looks like they may not be able to recover the body for very complicated political, basically where she fell. The only aerial vehicles allowed there are Pakistani military because it is like a border situation. And also her family, I guess, said something that it wouldn't have been her wish to anybody to risk getting hurt to recover her body. So that's lacks closure for the family, but yeah, just an incredibly sad occurrence.
I'm sure we'll see some tributes and everything in the coming months, and obviously the Olympics next year. And very, very sad. And we thoughts obviously with her family and everything out there with that one. I've teased a bit about the LA Olympics. Now, this is a very interesting one in the last month, Jamie. The fact that organizers of the LA Olympics are breaking tradition or breaking policy, I don't know what the right word is there to use, of the IOC, that they're going to be selling naming rights to venues. Now, generally what happens at an Olympics is that even if your stadium is called something, so I'm using in Australia, for example, the Sydney Olympic Stadium is now called a core stadium. So if Australia had the Olympics in Sydney again, it would just go back to being called Stadium Australia during that 2-week period. But the LA Olympics are going, nah, we want money. We want to do this. So they're going to sell rights, and they've already done it with 2 of them. One of them, admittedly, hasn't really taken much work. They've gotten Honda on board to keep the Honda Center down in Anaheim as the Honda Center. Of course, that will host volleyball, and go Ducks. And then Comcast is also coming on board, and they will be naming the squash venue. So let's go out to the Comcast Center for the squash. Sounds a bit weird saying that, doesn't it?
Well, I think that's temporary facility because if I was right, squash is actually going to be played on like one of the back lots.
Yeah, it's at Universal Studios, is it not?
Universal Studios, yeah. So and I thought it was outside. There is a venue. No, they tore that. There used to be a music venue there that they tore down to build Harry Potter Land. But I read that recently.
So when you say squash, you mean Quidditch. And we now cross out to the Comcast Quidditch court to see Hogwarts.
Hey, why not?
It's one of these things. It's no disrespect to your great country. It's so American. I love reading the comments here. So the LA chair and CEO, Casey Wasserman, has basically come out and said, people know crypto as Crypto.com Arena, formerly the Staples Center, of course.
Still this, yeah.
So he says, people know crypto as crypto. They don't know it as the gymnastics arena downtown. I mean, okay, solid point there, Casey. But at the same time, like, there's just something I like when it comes to an Olympics and a World Cup, when it's almost like just going back to that we don't have to be so corporate and so whatever. Like, I get it, but like, God, America has some of the worst names for stadiums. Like, I mean, you've got a Smoothie King Center, for fuck's sake. Like, I mean, who wants to go to the Smoothie King Center and watch the New Orleans Pelicans, which is, to me, one of the worst mascots in sport, but that's another story. We have Marvel Stadium here in Australia. We have a stadium named after a fucking comic book company. It's dumb. And in my home city of Hobart, our stadium is called Ninja Stadium, after the fucking company that makes air fryers, but like, Ninja Stadium. That is the name of it. Like, we're just losing the plot here. So, look, it all comes down to money, of course. Privately funded. There's a $6.9 billion budget. LA famously in 1984, very profitable games. It changed the face of the Olympics. And Casey's basically coming out and saying, like, we're doing it again. We're changing the face of the Olympics. And fine, it's got to adapt. I get it. But I don't know. I feel a bit off about this, Jamie. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, one, in defense of my once great and shall be great again country, it's kind of like if everybody's already made up their minds about you, you might as well just go with it. And like, if there was no way there was going to be criticism because the Olympics were in America from around the world, no matter what. There is I don't think it is that big of a deal because 40 years ago, we dealt with the exact same thing when the LA Olympics happened and venues were given sponsorship rights for the first time. And there was 4 years of, everybody around the world being like, oh, this over commercialization will be the last nail in the coffin for the Olympic Games. But when the games were over, we had 232 million reasons why, perhaps it was a good thing.
Yeah.
90 million of that went to the USOC, which desperately needed it. Another 200 million stayed right here in LA County. And every time you drive through a neighborhood and see a beautiful baseball field or football field or basketball courts for kids to play on, when you see these great youth programs that happen, all of that, or a great deal of that, came directly out of the surplus of the LA 84 games. So I have absolutely no problem with it. I don't think that, fingers crossed, winning the gold medal in basketball and having it happen in the crypto arena is going to take anything away from it. Well,
you're winning it in the Clippers one, remember? So the Clippers will actually win something for once. So
they're doing basketball at the Intuit?
I think they are.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Gymnastics is at crypto, if I'm not mistaken.
The Steve Ballmer. Well, we're probably going to get some medals in that too. So
maybe you're okay at that, I guess. It's. I think the biggest loser out of all of this is FIFA, because let's be honest, FIFA are going, fuck you, IOC. We've got to stick with New York, New Jersey Stadium for the FIFA World Cup final.
Right.
Because, obviously all the venues for the World Cup next year are, reverting to, I want to say traditional names, but I don't think the US call their stadiums anything except a sponsor stadium. At least in Australia, our venues still have an original name. Whereas there's a company that used to make these great T-shirts, and they were in the colors of teams, and it was just like, I'll still call it, and so like I'm not going to call it MetLife Stadium where the New York Mets are going to play. I'm still going to call it Shea Stadium, which is still named after someone. But I mean,
I think there are certain stadiums that will never happen to. I don't think it's ever going to be the Samuel Adams Lager Fenway Park where the Boston Red Sox play. Wrigley's been
Shake
named
Shack,
after
Madison Square Garden, not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Wrigley Field is named after a chewing gum.
True.
It always has been, and it was never really, an issue. So I don't know. I guess
there are some that they're saying
there are
like,
some ridiculous ones.
There are, but like the part of this deal though, they've said on that like traditional, like real, iconic names. So the LA Coliseum, the Rose Bowl, and Dodger Stadium will not be changed. They will still be called that. And then also some, I guess, are kind of like waiting for it. So, for example, they've used SoFi Stadium as an example. They're saying that if nobody can reach a deal, like if you can't get SoFi on board for the Olympics, no other company can then come in and be like the Coca-Cola Stadium. You know what I mean? So, it's interesting that's kind of going to be part of it. But I know that, like, for example, when I was doing stuff when I was with the A-League back during the Women's World Cup a couple of years ago, the strictness that FIFA have, and IOC I know is very similar, that they get given, say, like, a couple of weeks before the Olympics start, the IOC will be given complete control of the venues. So FIFA got given complete control of a lot of Australian venues back in 2023. This is in the middle of our football season, so there were many, things like that. But the strictness that they've got to go over it. So, like, one of our stadiums in Sydney, Allianz Stadium, they had to go around and cover everything, like even just like the smallest details. You have to go around to toilets and cover things with tape if there's like the smallest Allianz brand. Like, there's somebody's job has got to go over every fucking corner of that stadium. So at least this might save some time for some of the people at Honda Center. They don't have to do it, right? It'll be interesting.
The humor of FIFA being that strict about things like that and then lacking any moral compass in other arenas, the humor is not lost on me.
Of the two organizations, which one's still getting bribed a lot? All right? I think the IOC's cleaned that shit up. But FIFA, Johnny, whatever your name is, going on your social media, welcome to the World Cup. He sounds more Dracula than Thomas Bach, let's be honest. On the LA scheduling side of things, shout out to listener Vincent Mazoya, who he gave us some great insight around the Paris opening ceremony. We mentioned him a couple of months ago. Loved our Paris chat. He's in Paris. He's a loyal listener to the show, and he wanted to make note of us talking about the scheduling of the LA Olympics, and that we might not have been aware that modern pentathlon has actually been shifted from the end of the Olympics to the beginning of the Olympics. And this is a big deal in the world of modern pentathlon because traditionally, this modern pentathlon was always a sport that was held at the beginning of the Olympics. It wasn't until Atlanta, last time you guys hosted the Summer Olympics, that it got shifted to the end. And as we always know, generally it's held like in the last couple of days. I mean, when I was in Paris, it was like literally the last day before the closing ceremony was held. But the UIPM, the federation, has celebrated this. They've posted on their website saying this is fantastic. They've even literally gotten to the point where they've posted a schedule showing that this is when events will be, this is what time it will be. They're celebrating this so people can get their tickets for it. But as a modern pentathlete fanboy, Jamie, get it at the beginning. I like this. I applaud this.
Absolutely.
Because it's no disrespect to the sports that are at the end, but like by day 16, everyone's kind of a bit worn out. They're thinking about the closing ceremony. I always feel sorry for those like medal events on the last day. So this should get some more attention on modern pentathlon.
Yeah, I mean, generally it would get kind of lost in the track and field shuffle. LA, it would have been now the swimming shuffle, but still, if KittyLedecky's on, the average, Olympic viewer is going to tune into that, not the modern pentathlon. So let's get eyeballs on these other great sports and these other great athletes at the beginning. I mean, and if I was a modern pentathlete, I'd be like, let's get the event done in the first 2 days so I can just hang out and enjoy the city I'm in and enjoy the Olympics for 2 weeks.
Yep.
I also think it's great where they're having it. They're having it in the same kind of area, the Sepulveda Basin, where I believe they're doing like BMX bikes. They're doing other sports that are definitely sort of trying to capture younger viewers. Like the sort of youth movement of and the sports that are being included in the Olympic program. And I think that although I'm not in love, I totally understand it is going to be weird to see Ninja Warrior athletes instead of horseback riding. I do think that might get some younger viewers into modern pentathlon.
Yeah.
Like
I was going to mention that, like, it's going to get eyes on it because this is a big deal that we're seeing this Ninja Warrior thing instead of the traditional horse riding, which is a shame. It is a shame. I'm with you. I wish they kept the horse riding in, but time's got to change and people should stop abusing animals, and then maybe we can all play nice. But
right.
Yeah, it'll get some eyes on it. Get the kids into modern pentathlon. That's I agree with you there. And also on that note, as we shared on our social media during the week, happy 9-year anniversary to Chloe Esposito winning gold at Rio 2016. By the way, just wanted to point that out. Former guest on this show and Queen of Australia. Let's be honest. Thanks, Vincent, for that message. Very much appreciate it. He also shared with me he went to the Olympic Museum in Lucerne and some great images there of that. It is on my bucket list, Vincent, to get there. Don't you worry about that. Speaking of museums, just quickly, I did want to, let's not talk about Trump. Fuck him. He claimed he got the Olympics. Good for him. Whatever. Move on. He gets enough lip service. I'm sick of hearing about him. Rio has opened up an Olympic museum on the Rio Olympics, which we were talking a little bit in our group chat about other Olympic museums. And off the top of my head, I mean, I think there's one in Lake Placid. I don't know where else in the States, at least, if there's any like actual museums. I know that, say, like in Montreal out at the Olympic Park, they've got exhibitions. I know in Vancouver there's an exhibition at BC Place. Calgary, like you literally land at the airport and they've got stuff in the airport. And I know walking to the Scotiabank Saddledome where the Flames play, and they had events back during those Olympics. There's kind of like, murals and stuff along those lines. So I'm aware of places that will integrate. I mean, in Australia, here in Melbourne right now, there's the Australian Sports Museum has a very large Olympic exhibition in the stadium that the Olympics were in back in 1956. But to me, this is a one of a kind. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm not familiar with another city having an entire museum dedicated to the Olympics that are in that city. But this is a great initiative, particularly from a city that is often ridiculed all these years later for having a white elephant Olympics. All the venues have just gone to waste. What a waste of money it was. Right. And here they are celebrating. It's in their velodrome too. So they're using a venue of it. But I'd love to go see this. This seems like a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I am surprised. I thought Atlanta had one and I checked and they do not. LA 84 Foundation, which is the foundation that was kind of put together to basically spend the money made on the LA Olympics, has a building and a research library here, but I don't think they have pay a ticket and go to a bunch of cool interactive exhibits. Everything we have here is in Colorado Springs, which is the home of the USOC. Mm-hmm. They have a beautiful museum there, and it makes sense that it's there because that's where training facilities are for multiple sports. That's where their headquarters is. That's where their archives is. But it's, it's in the middle of the country. It's, I don't know where else you would have it. It's just, it's not in a city that, it's not in a major city. I mean, Colorado Springs is mostly known because right around there is the home of the U.S. Air Force Academy.
I've been to that museum. I remember I had a friend, I went and stayed with him in Colorado Springs, and he took me there, and I was fascinated by it. I was actually, when I was unpacking some of my stuff for my move, I found a brochure and a ticket from the day I went there. I was like, oh, cool. So
did you go across kind of town to where the training facility is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did it. We walked through it because I remember going through buildings and seeing there were people training in gymnastics. There was like a courtyard, and I think there was like a wall or some sort of thing with like Olympians. I've got a photo of me like pointing at a sign, US training. I honestly, at the time, I was sort of in a weird place. So I don't think I really took it in as much as I should have. But I'd love to get back there and really, really soak it in a lot more. It's no different to now that I'm living in Melbourne. I mean, I've done the Australian Sports Museum numerous times. It's a fantastic museum. And I want to go back and, just spend a day reading everything. Like this is a tangent, but related to what I'm talking about. Like when I was living in New York, I went to the 9/11 museum, and I've been there plenty of times. But the last time I went there, I literally spent the entire day there because I actually made sure to fully read everything and actually take it in rather than just your usual 2 hours. Oh, cool. Yeah, whatever. So I'd like to do that here. But it's interesting reading this article on Inside the Games that here I am saying like, oh, I'm not sure how many other Olympic museums there are. There actually says in the article, the Rio Museum is now the 37th member of the Olympic Museum Network. Basically, this was a network founded in 2006 by the Olympic Museum in Lausanne, dedicated to advancing the culture, heritage, and legacies of the Olympic Games globally. Its members are united by Olympic values, excellence, friendship, respect. And I don't necessarily think this means there's 37 dedicated Olympic museums. It's more so part of the network. So what I'm reading here is that there are actually, there's a dedicated museum in Beijing that celebrates both 2008 and 2022. There's also one in Nanjing where they had the Youth Olympics in 2014. And so it's interesting. So they got to
Athens. See does it list Athens? I think Athens has one. That would
it says here that obviously. The OMN network features museums in Athens and other Olympic cities of Barcelona, Helsinki, Lake Placid, Lillehammer, Montreal, Nagano, Sapporo, Seoul, and Tokyo. Now, Montreal, like it's sort of, from what I remember seeing of the one in Montreal, like it's sort of the whole park where the Olympics were, like the stadium and the tower thing. Like it's kind of all kept like in a state, and it's very 1976, and it's very well preserved. But and actually the one here, which I went to last year when I was in Germany, so they've got here the German Sports Museum in Cologne, Qatar in Doha, and the United States Olympic Paralympic Museum in Colorado Springs are also amongst those part of the OMN network. And that one in Germany is advertised as like the German Olympic Museum, which I wasn't aware until I met Raphael, and he said like, hey, do you want to go to it? So I went to it, and it's very fascinating, that museum in Cologne. So love this. We need one in Australia. I don't know. I don't know if the one in the Australian Sports Hall of Fame Museum is part of this, but it should be. If it's not, well...
what have you been to the New South Wales Hall of Champions?
I have not been to the New South Wales Hall of Champions, Jamie.
For some, I put with a question mark. I had that in my notes. I think there is an exhibit or a part of that that's dedicated to Australian Olympians. But
okay, there you go.
I could be wrong.
I never heard of it.
New South Wales is where from Victoria?
North. So that's where the state where Sydney is, basically.
Oh, well, that tracks. Yeah.
It's I can see it.
London does not have one. I was surprised by that. They love a good museum in London.
The thing that fascinated me about London, so like at least when you go to Homebush where the Sydney Olympics were and you're outside Stadium Australia, there's monuments. Like there's literally a park called Juan Antonio Samaranch, His Excellency Park, and it's also Kathy Freeman Park next to it. That's where the cauldron is from Sydney 2000. And underneath the cauldron, they literally have every medal winner from Sydney 2000, the Paralympics and the Olympics, all on like tiles underneath it. It's fantastic. It's really, really fascinating. And you actually go to that park and read, there's like a sign which states that everything in this park is connected to the Olympics. So they've got like these little murals, which if you pay attention to it, they designate certain things to do with the Paralympics. And then if you go to the left of the stadium, they've got these poles, which has the name of every single volunteer who volunteered during Sydney 2000. There's a replica torch of the Paralympics and the Olympics. There's a wall of all Australia's champions. There's a big statue of the Sydney 2000 logo. Like it's all very well preserved. But in London, when I went to a Premier League game out at the Olympic Stadium, and then you could see like, that big famous red snaky tower thing. The only thing that they had there was the bell, the similar to what they had in Paris, right? They had like that bell that they rang in the stadium. And I could barely get a photo with it. It's a Premier League game, right? So there's all fucking soccer fans around it, so I could barely see it. But from at least what I saw of that stadium, there wasn't a lot celebrating London 2012, which surprised me. But maybe I didn't explore it enough. So
this said that what I said is that they had planned to build one and have a museum in Queen Elizabeth Park in Stratford.
Okay.
Which is down the Thames. But plans were put on hold in 2013. And that was all the information I had on it. But
interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's great. Look, it's a great idea. And I think like one thing I'll say about Canada is all three of their Olympic cities, like there are parts where they celebrate it. Like the cauldron for Vancouver is easily accessible downtown. The first time I went to Vancouver, there was, went into a building, here's a replica podium, here's medals, it's just fantastic. As I said, Calgary and Montreal. I've been to all three and seen all that. And Salt Lake City, actually. I don't know if you've been to Salt Lake City and seen a lot of the stuff that there. The cauldron is easy to find at the University of Utah. They had a big Salt Lake monument with like a ski statue somewhere downtown. Yeah, like there's a lot of Salt Lake stuff downtown in Salt Lake, I remember as well. So good on you, Rio, for joining this. I love to see it. Very, very exciting.
Well, maybe some of that money we make from the naming rights can go towards building a museum here in Los Angeles when the games are over.
That's your freaking third Olympics. I mean, you should have something. So,
right, yeah.
That's something to have. I agree. Good on that. We're going to get to our sports preview in just a moment. But as we always do on the newscast, we like to go over and celebrate some of our Team OTP members and their results. And it's been a big month for some of our members. We had the World Aquatic Championships, of course, in Singapore just in the last month. Has Michael Phelps calmed down yet? Or is he still putting out statements and ripping into shit? We're so terrible. Like, calm down, Phelpsy.
Calm down, Michael. Our mutual friend, Rowdy Gaines, was quite entertaining. I don't know if you saw him on it's probably the American broadcast of doing the 1500 with Katie and Summer and the Australian swimmer, who I apologize, I'm forgetting her name right now, but the three of them were neck and neck till like the last 2 or 3 laps, but Rowdy was losing his mind.
He was going rowdy? You'd say Rowdy was going rowdy?
Yeah, Rowdy was living up to his name.
Rowdy
was being rowdy, not Ambrose.
That's what he does. Meg Harris, guest of this show, she won 2 gold at those games. She was part of the 4x100 meter relay team, our dominant female team in that event. And she also claimed the 50 meter world championship. I believe that's her first ever world championship in an individual event. So congratulations, Meg, there. And Cassio Rousseau, our 10 meter world champion in the diving, his second world championship. He got the 2023 world championship as the 2025 world championship to his belt. So congratulations to Cassio there. On the Canadian front, Dwan Asamoto is the new Canadian 100-meter champion. He claimed that title in Ottawa recently, so a big congratulations to Dwayne there. Love to see that. And on the American front, Noelle Lambert, our good friend, Paralympian, she finished second at the Para Nationals in the T63 100 meters and secured her spot for the World Championships. I believe they're in India for the Para Athletic World Championships later this year. And also a special shout out to Noelle, who I believe is getting married this week. So congratulations to you, Noelle. And we wish you all the best there. So again, as always, apologies to any other Team OTP members who I haven't mentioned, who I haven't seen the results. But congratulations for those 4 that I've touched on there. This week, in terms of interviews, we last week had bobsledder on the show, David Beresh, from the Czech Republic, or Czechia, as we officially now know it. We've got to call it Czechia. That is the official name, as he explained. But this week, we've got another bobsledder going back to Australia. And for the very first time on this podcast, we're having a male Australian bobsledder, Cameron Scott, who is on the verge of making his Olympic debut in Milano Cortina in the 4-man and possibly 2-man as well. Great chat. Great man. A very, very entertaining chat. And this is a snippet. He talks about having his first ever crash. He apparently went forever until he had a crash. And it's a bobsled tradition. You're not a real bobsledder until you crash, right? That's a thing. So the Jamaican bobsled team, they were bobsledders immediately. Fair enough. But this is his story about his first time he ever crashed. And I don't really give a language warning on this show because we say fuck a lot. But if you don't like the word fuck, you're going to get fucking offended by fucking listening to this next section.
We decided, we had track notes that were written down and we thought, okay, we're just going to walk it. We're going to learn it. We'll figure it out. So it was actually from, I think it was like start maybe 3 in Lake Placid. So 2 starts from the top. And I crashed just at like corner 17. So, we're right near the end. There's 20 corners. And I just remember screaming, like I'm not screaming, but like knowing we're about to tip and just going, fuck. And it was kind of, it ended up actually being a bit of a running joke with any of the brakemen that were in the sled if I'd crashed. And it was like, we know you when we're about to. You're screaming. Yeah, you're screaming, oh, fuck. Like, split second before we go weightless. So
don't even become a flight attendant because instead of going like brace, you're going to be going, oh, fuck, we're crashing.
Honestly, I just remember Ben, one of the boys, that she was like, we crashed pretty high up in Whistler that year as well. And we're going down and we finished. And I was like, I'm really sorry, mate. And he's like, oh, no, it's all right. I knew when to tense because I just heard it. I heard you screaming. Yeah, it was very funny.
I'll try unmuting myself, Ben. It's a great chat. If I'm able to talk about it, very fun, very entertaining guy. Comes from a rugby background, got into bobsled. So two basically bobsledders in a row that we've talked to that had a rugby background, and wish him all the best. We had no male bobsledders in Beijing, so it's been a while since we've had some male bobsledders for Australia. So keep an eye out for that one. That's dropping this Friday, and plenty more winter athletes coming along the way as we obviously get closer to Milano Cortina. Jamie, we're here though right now. Sports preview. I'm clapping because I get excited for this because as I've said on a few of these now that we've started doing this, I enjoyed it in Paris. Don't get me wrong. It was fun, but we had to cram it all in. We had like 3 an episode, right? Like we had to, fuck, he's cycling, fuck, he's rowing. Like,
I think we did rhythmic gymnastics, modern pentathlon, and weightlifting all in one. So we not only was crammed in, we were all over the place.
We were all over the place. But now we can focus on one an episode. This month, speed skating, Jamie. I put it out to the floor. I say, everyone, what do you want? What do you want to do? You've chosen speed skating. Do you have any particular reason? Are you a speed skating aficionado, or you just thought, let's do something a bit different?
I am not, and I don't come from a winter sports background, even though I'm from New England. I cannot ice skate. I cannot ski. But I think this is a perfect example of the stories of the Olympics growing up. Speed skating really captivating me. I was too young to remember Eric Heiden in 1980, who won all of our gold medals in Lake Placid except the hockey gold medal. But in the mid 80s, there was a guy named Dan Jansen,
I've heard
an American speed skater, who found out while he was at the Olympics that his sister, who was struggling with leukemia, passed away. And he had become this story. He was defending world champion, I believe. He might have been the world record holder. And he fell. And it was just this crushing thing in Calgary watching this. And then he came back in 92 and he fell again. And he his career got like one last chance, because then they switched to every 2 years. And he finally came back in Lillehammer and won the gold medal there. And it was this amazing story. And then Bonnie Blair was incredibly dominant in the 80s, Apollo Ono.
Wrong speed skating, though, that one. That's short track.
Are we not covering short track?
No, we're just doing normal. What did you want to do? Short, did you?
I thought we were covering it all.
No, we just do long track here. Short track's its own separate beast. I'm keeping it. Okay. You can come back and do that when you want next time if you like. No one's chosen it.
Let's do long track.
I was keeping them separate.
You're really dialing in.
Props to you for your research. I feel bad now that you've kind of.
No, don't. Let's talk.
Well, okay. Patrick has actually taken short track, so you might have to.
And I'll stop talking. Apologies, Patrick.
But hey, you want to talk about Apollo? You want to talk about Stephen Bradbury? I'm not going to say no, but no, short track. Technically, they are separate sports, so that's why we're sort of, it's okay. It's sort of not like the, road cycling, BMX, like that's technically the one sport, whereas short track and that are technically the same. But anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off there. If you had anything else, to say
that's
on the long
fine.
Track.
No, take it away. Let's talk long track.
I was going to mention Chad Hedrick, former guest on this show, Great Americans long track speed skater. But this is one of the traditional sports of the Winter Olympics. This is one of the sports that has been on the schedule at every Winter Games since 1924. And fun fact, there are 12 events that have been at every single Winter Olympics in the history of the Winter Olympics. And of those 12 events, 4 of them are speed skating events. The men's 500 meter, 1500 meter, 5000 meter, and 10,000 meter have been at every single Olympic game since 1924. There's your fun fact for the episode. I personally have always loved watching it because, my first introduction to Winter Olympics was I sort of remember 92, but 94 is mainly when I remember it. And obviously, Australia won a medal in short track speed skating, so that got a lot of attention here. But I have vivid memories of watching Norway skate. And they weren't cheating back then, those bastards. but I just remember those red suits and just the visions of these fast Norwegians going on. I was just fascinated by it. And then I remember getting the Nagano 1998 Nintendo 64 video game, one of my favorite video games of all time. And speed skating was one of my favorite events in that because I'd always win medals in it. Love speed skating. Obviously not a sport in Australia that we generally have much in because we don't have long track speed skating venues in this country. We have no need for them. But the fun fact that I'll say right now in terms of just when we get to our respective countries' events, I get ours over and done with because it doesn't take much longer than it will for yours, is that prior to us winning Olympic medals, prior to 1994, our best ever result at a Winter Olympic Games was in speed skating. The great Colin Coates, 6-time Olympian, if you don't mind, was 6th in the 1976 Olympics in the 10,000 meters. Now, in hindsight, 6 doesn't sound great when we've won gold and silver and bronze medals now in history, but if we were sitting here right now and we had never won a Winter Olympic medal and that was still our best result, we'd be celebrating it. So Colin Coates is a legend in this country. So I wanted to point that out. 6-time Olympian. What a man Colin Coates is. But when it comes to the overall medal table, how's your research in this one? I hope you didn't combine the short track and the long track. You might be having a different tally.
I believe I did.
Oh, there you go. All right, no, the long track here, Jamie. This is, look, this is one of those ones that if I didn't look at what I was looking at right now, I'd guess the country was number one. Because I think of one country when it comes to speed skating, and they are the number one nation in speed skating. What nation is that, Jamie?
I'm saying I would have thought Norway.
They are third. There's another country in Europe beginning with N that is a very prominent speed skating nation. And
I was blown away by what I believe is number 2.
Yeah, well, you guys are number 2. Congratulations. Yeah. That actually, no offense, that kind of surprised me too. I'm like, I know America are okay, but I didn't think they were number 2 okay. The Netherlands, absolute dominant nation when it comes to speed skating. It's one of these things that whenever I meet a Dutch person, I'm like, why are you like, I don't really see the Netherlands as a strong winter sports nation, but you guys are fucking amazing at speed skating. Like, is it just, like what's going on there? But 48 gold, 44 silver, 41 bronze in total, 133. That's nearly double the total of USA in long track speed skating over the years. So they lead on gold and total by a very long distance. USA are second overall, 30 gold, 22 silver, 19 bronze, 71 in total. If we go on the Ben Waterworth method, though, Norway are second on total, 87 medals. They've won 28 gold, 29 silver, 30 bronze. Canada, they're in the top 10. 10 gold, 16 silver, 16 bronze. Canada pretty decent in speed skating. They've got 42 total.
I think you jumped over it, but number 4, it's pretty impressive that considering they haven't skated since 1988, that the Soviet Union's so high on the list.
Sitting up there in 4th, and Germany are 5th ahead of Canada. And to fill out the top 10, Sweden 7th, East Germany 8th, Finland 9th. I don't really associate Finland with speed skating, but there you go. And Japan. Japan actually, I think, are sort of one of the more modern ones, aren't they? They've sort of done quite all right recently. Fun fact for you, North Korea have won a medal in long track speed skating. If you didn't know that, they've won 1 silver. And Kazakhstan have also won a medal, a bronze. I always like to pinpoint the medal ones. And I wanted to bring up the great nation of Belgium, given that we just had Max Streon on the show a couple of weeks back, and we were talking to him about Belgium at the Winter Olympics. The great Bart Swings. I mean, a name like that, you need to mention it. Broke their very long drought in Winter Olympic gold medals back in Beijing. But love that name, Bart Swings. Seriously, like how can you not mention that one? Australia actually hasn't had a speed skater in long track since 2018. So, and I honestly don't know where we're tracking right now with our speed skating program. So I can't sit here and comment to say whether that will change in a couple of years or not. But it's always just a fun sport. And the thing that amazes me, because I actually have tickets to speed skating next year. I'm very excited. I've never seen a speed skating venue. Have you ever seen a speed skating venue in your life at all, Jamie, through your travels?
No. I think there's tons in like Minnesota, Wisconsin, up in that part of the country here. I mean, we had Olympic figure skating facility not far from where I grew up. Shout out Oksana Bayul. But no, I don't believe I have.
I bring that up because it's one of these more like impressive venues if you think about it. Because this is a 400-meter track, but ice. So this is, obviously going to be larger than a hockey rink, larger than a figure skating rink, larger than a short track rink, funnily enough. And I'm very excited to see it in person. It's kind of one of these things that, like, I've also got tickets to bobsled and ski jumping, and these are just not normal things that I see in my country and I've never seen in person, right? So impressive venues, because you're obviously a very big track and field guy. 400 meters is quite a standard distance when it comes to your beloved sport. But on ice, I mean, does it not remind you of Cool Runnings? Ice? Just keep yelling it out there. I remember when I lived in Canada, there was first place I lived in, there was a high school nearby and there was a running track. And I'd go down there, do some running, and this was in the summer. And there would be, obviously, speed skaters would be practicing, but with their rollerblades, because it was just, you'd see that, very like form of the arms and all that kind of stuff. And again, something as an Australian I never see. So very, very standard on that side of things. When it comes to the USA, though, I think there are two people that we need to talk about heading into these games, two very big names who I think a lot of people know, even if you don't follow the sport. The first one, Erin Jackson. Obviously, she was a big deal in Beijing, got a gold medal there. And the other one who, let's just say, has been a little bit dominant in the world of speed skating in the last couple of years, Jordan Stoltz, who essentially has just been shitting all over everyone, world records, gold medals in the world championships, everything along those lines. Are they two names that a lot of Americans will know even if they don't follow? Because I feel they are big names that are going to become even bigger in a couple of months.
Hopefully they will become bigger in a couple of months. But yeah, they haven't quite achieved the same status as some of the speed skaters from the past. But I mean, bring home a few more gold medals. And I mean, Erin Jackson was a big story. She was the first African-American woman to win a gold medal at the Olympics. So she was certainly a story because of that. Jordan Stoltz is yet to ascend to kind of the renown that hopefully he will get if he performs well in Milan.
I follow the NBC show, the lead into the games one that they sort of believe have just restarted for Milano Cortina, but I know sort of in the lead up to Paris, they did a lot on Jordan, and it was sort of just interesting to see. I mean, he's only 21 years old. He wasn't even born when Salt Lake was on. So, this is a guy who has been alive for no Olympics in your country. But to go over some of his recent success, looking at this, at the World Single Distance Championships since the last Olympics. In 2023, he won gold in the 500, the 1,000, the 1,500. Then last year in Calgary, he won gold in the 500, the 1,000, the 1,500. And then this year, he got silver in the 500, silver in the 1,500, and bronze in the 1,000. So essentially, over the last 3 years, he has medaled in all three of those distances at every single world championship, at the World Single Distance Championship. At the Four Continents Championship, he won gold in the 1,000, 500, 1,000, 1,500, and the team pursuit in 2004 and 2025. And then back in the World Junior Championships in 2023. So he's competing at both the senior and the junior. 5 golds, 2 bronzes, if you don't mind. And then he got a gold at the World All-Around Championships last year. So this guy is just really on track to potentially get a few medals in a couple of months' time when it comes to that. Another one I wanted to mention just on the Canadian side of things, a guest on this show, Laurent Dubrow, who got a silver in Beijing, if I'm not mistaken. He's doing all right on the world stage as well. It's hard to track, I guess, the rankings in speed skating because it's sort of not like a standard sport where like the World Cup stage and they had championships, like they often spread it in like the World Single Distance Championships, and there's like it's sort of combined. Yeah. It's not as black and white as some other sports.
I had quite a difficult time trying to make sense of the qualifying.
Yeah,
for the Olympics, it's a
bit over the place, isn't it? And I sort of know when it comes to that. But Laurent, in at least what I can see here in the World Cup standings in the 500 meters in the last season, number 2 behind Mr. Stoltz. So he's tracking all right in that side of things. In the 1,000 meter World Cup, he's also sitting in 9th. Jordan Stoltz is number 1, and it comes to that one as well. And the 1,500 meters, funnily enough, Jordan Stoltz, number 1 in that as well. And I don't think Laurent competes in that one because he's not there. But Bart Swings is 18th. I'm tracking Bart. I love me some Bart. So just it's like saying the word Bart over and over again. So there, but in the World Cup standings in the 500 meters for the women, Erin Jackson is the number 1 ranked skater at the end of the last season, 2024-2025. But as you say, it's kind of hard to track a lot of them because then even if you go to the ISU skating website, it's sort of not that easy to kind of see it. If I look here in the 5,000 meter men, for example, at the World Single Distance Championships earlier this year, was won by Sander Eitrem of Norway. He beat Bo Snellink of Netherlands and Vladimir Semeruni of Poland.
Well done.
Thank you. I'm trying to get better. The 10,000, he's one to look out for. Hometown hero, the 10,000 meters, David Giotto of Italy, the world champion there in the single distance championships. Good for him. Vladimir Semeruni of Poland, the silver medalist. And, oh goodness, how am I going to say this one? Metodajilek. Sounds all right to me, from Czechia. He was 3rd. And Ted Bloman, Canada, he's still cracking around too. He was 6th. Good to that. I know. Ted, good to see him popping around there.
The World Championships were lacking Sweden, though.
Why?
Who's
Sweden? What's going on with Sweden?
I don't know, but I know that Niels van der Poel set an Olympic record in the 5,000 and a world record in the 10,000 in Beijing, and he wasn't at the World Championships.
Maybe they just...
So I don't know. Maybe he retired.
Slept in.
I don't think so. Let's find out.
I don't know. Good to see we do the research.
He's 29. Here. He's not retiring.
You were focused too much on your damn short track.
I have to admit, I didn't do short track. I got confused. All my data really is long track. So
we just want to talk about Apollo Ono and Steve Bradbury.
I feel like I'm gonna get fired again, and I didn't even bring up Taylor Swift.
Hey, I had to hear that name a couple of times in interviews today. I'm over it. So no, we don't have that one. I should mention in terms of the distances. So men and women do the 500, the 1,000, the 1,500, and the 5,000. They also do the team pursuit and the mass start. Have you ever watched the mass start? That is a fun event to watch.
I think everything should be mass start. I'm a track and field guy. Put 32 guys in the 10,000 meters and let them all battle it out for the first lap. I love it.
Battle Royale, Royal Rumble style. The women have the 3,000 meters while the men have the 10,000 meters. So in this day and age of equality, apparently the women can't do a 10,000 meters. I don't know why. And apparently the men can't do a 3,000 meters. Don't know why. But anyway, that's not for us to decide on those ones apparently. The scheduling for, actually the venue I should mention. So it will be at the Milan Ice Park, which is also where some of the preliminaries for the ice hockey will be held. And speed skating, long track speed skating, is essentially an entire Olympic event. So it begins on day 1 on the Saturday, and you will have medals all the way up until the final Saturday. There are 3 rest days in between. I have tickets on the 8th of February, which I looked up. It is the 5,000 meters men's that I am seeing in person. So I think maybe I need to pay attention. Who did we say was leading the 5,000 meters men's, Ben? I will pull that up. It was my Norwegian friend Sander Eitrem. Is the world
unless this Niels van der Poel gentleman
wakes up, shows up, decides to go there.
Up.
Yeah. Wow. I'm seeing here, so Ted's in that one as well. He's 7th there. Casey Dawson was your highest ranked American skater. He was 10th. Great Canadian here by the name of Graham Fish. Old Fishy there, like him. Bart Swings, there he is. 14th.
Swings.
Come on, mate. You think I'm not going to have any Aussies to cheer for at the speed skating. I need to get my Belgian flag going up for it, I think. You know? Bart, I've come from Australia to see you. I'm from Hobart. You know? You think that could...
Hobart. I got it. There it is.
To Hobart.
There it is.
You know?
I like it.
You could get the key to like the city of Hobart. And then you could...
Hobart,
swing.
Yes.
No? Are we allowed to talk about swinging? Is that appropriate? I don't know.
I think in Hobart you are, but I don't,
It's usually with your family members, but that's a different story. I'm excited because, again, it's a sport that you just don't often watch in Australia. So there you go. In terms of the last Olympics, in the medal pages when it comes to, I guess, the US and Canada. We obviously talked about Erin on that side of things. I'm just going to scroll through here because clearly I've done my research. As I said, Laurent Dubrow got silver in Beijing in the 1,000 meters. You see so many Dutch here. It's just Dutch, Norway. There's your Swedes that you're talking about there. US got the bronze in the team pursuit in the men's in Beijing. And then, as we said, Erin Jackson got the gold in the 500 meters. The thing also that I love about speed skating is just, I mean, again, you're a track and field guy, but like you got the 100 meters, you've got the 10,000, you got the marathon, very diverse distances there. But there are some competitors in speed skating who do the 500 and the 10,000. Like you don't often find 100-meter sprinters doing the 10K, do you? So
right. No,
it's kind of not. It's one of those ones that it's unique to kind of see that. Brittany Bowe for the US got the bronze in the 1,000 meters in Beijing. Isabel Weideman got the bronze in the 3,000 meters for Canada, and she also got the silver in the 5,000 meters. And in the mass start, Avani Blondin got the silver, I should say. And of course, team pursuit gold did go to Canada. We had Valerie Maute on the show talking about that, and Canada got that gold there as well. I believe this is the first Olympics in a while without the great Irene Wust of the Netherlands, one of the greatest Olympians of all time. 13 medals, if you don't mind. And she, of course, the second athlete to win 5 gold medals at 5 consecutive Olympics after the great Stephen Redgrave, who did that as well. So I miss Irene. Surely even you've heard of Irene Wust before. Great Dutch skater. But yes, I believe she has since retired there. Anything else to add on speed skating? Jay, do you want to talk some short track?
No, that's fine. There was one little note I was interested by. It was, I think, 8 Olympic records in Beijing and 1 world record. Yet I looked it up. The qualifying times for speed skating haven't changed since the standards of 2018.
Wow.
I found that interesting that they have not dropped. Whereas like in track and field, the marathon qualifying time is dropped by 3 minutes since 2016. So I don't know if you have a speed skating expert, or maybe the next speed skater you have on, you can ask him that. But I found that interesting.
It has been a while since I've had a long track speed skater on. Might have been Chad, maybe, or might have been Laurent, possibly. I think we had him just on after Beijing. So, we need to catch up on the old long track speed skaters, because I feel like, particularly in Australia, like, you know, you say speed skating, people are going to think Bradbury. They're going to think short track, because that's what, you know, obviously we've won a couple of medals in it, and we don't generally send athletes in long track speed skating. But I think it's sort of one of those ones where it's like, you know, short track's the smash and bash, right? That's the, again, using a cricket analogy, that's the 2020 cricket. That's the rugby sevens. That's the shortened version. It's exciting. And I'm not taking away from short track. I love short track speed skating. But there's just something about long track. It's strategic. It's the cycling of the Olympics. I don't even want to say it's a track and field. I classify alpine skiing as a track and field. That's like the blue ribbon event of the Olympics. Whereas you do obviously get a lot of cyclists who get into speed skating, and then vice versa. You see speed skaters get into cycling. Generally, it's the legs, it's the training, right? And I love that later. I love the ones where you see them like cross over in the middle, and then it's just that straight shootout with a clock, similar to cycling. You have the split screens crossing the line, and it's just like amazing athletes. I mean, it's one of these sports that looks easy. You think to yourself, you are gliding on frozen ice, like you are getting like, you know, whatever, but you talk to these athletes about the lactic acid buildup in their legs, and just, I mean, I can't imagine, I can barely walk 10Ks. I can't even skate. I can't imagine combining the two to do 10,000 meters. So, we need more speed skaters. I need to go back to Amsterdam. I'm sure I could have thrown a stone and hit a speed skater when I was there a year ago, right? So, I need to get to the bottom of why Dutch people are so good at fucking speed skating. It's just not one of these sports you associate. Like, why? Like, you know?
I mean, does it like, where was I didn't think it was, I thought it was Norway where they like skated the rivers.
They do. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, Canada, the famous one in Ottawa, isn't it? They like basically skate to work along the long river there in Ottawa. But no, you're right. The Norwegians, Scandinavians, I mean, but it's cold. I mean, I know it gets cold in Netherlands. I'm not saying it doesn't get cold, but like you just don't associate the Netherlands with winter sports, you know?
The Elfstedentrot. I butchered that. The 11 Cities Tour was organized as a competition in 1909.
There you go. Is that the Norwegian one or the Dutch one?
No, it's the Dutch one.
The Dutch one. Maybe it's a cycling thing. Maybe it's going back to when I'm just talking about cycling because the Dutch are pretty handy cyclists. So maybe it's just like, we're German now. We are going to get on the bike. How do you do a Dutch accent? Fruity Heim, the Dutch, Max Verstappen. That's a Dutch accent. Lovely people. I love the Dutch. What did Jared say on this show? You're not much if you're not Dutch. But that has a Dutch accent. Anyway, good for them for skating good. If you're a Dutch person listening today, send us in a message. We are good at the skating. Why are they now Russian? How's your Dutch accent, Jamie? Good?
I'm not even going to attempt it.
No?
I was going to throw it in there just because we've belittled the United States so much. We did win the first ever Winter Olympic medal, gold medal.
Okay.
Charles Jutru in Lake Placid.
The esteemed. I know him very.
Esteemed Charles Jutru. Well,
can I actually circle back to 1976? Colin Coates, 6 in the 10,000 meters. I pulled this up. All right. So this is, of course, in Innsbruck. This was held at the Olympia.
Should have been in Denver.
Should have been in Denver. But quite not. The Olympia Eichenlaufbahn, the esteemed venue. Can't wait to go there one day. It was held on Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, Colin Coates, when he gets his 6th place there. The great Pat Klein of the Netherlands won gold that day. He beat Norway's Sten Stensen. I shouldn't laugh, but like seriously, if you were to like go to ChatGPT and go, give me a Norwegian name, Sten Stensen would probably come up. And then he finished ahead of the great Dutch skater Hans van Helden. Got the bronze. So the Dutch went gold and bronze. Viktor Varlamov of Soviet Union was 4th. Oljan Sandler 5th for Sweden. And the great news for Colin Coates in 6th is that he beat American legend Dan Carroll in 7th. So in your face, Dan Carroll. Your favorite speed skater, Dan Carroll, isn't he? You love him. See, I really don't mean to be offensive, but if I'm looking at these names, I don't believe Wikipedia that these are real names because these just seem like the most stereotypical names from every single country. Even Colin Coates just sounds like a stereotypical Australian name. American skaters, Dan Carroll, Mike Woods. Standard American names. Let's take a look at some of the other ones. From Italy, we had Maurizio Marchetto. So Italian. Italy, from the Great Britain, Jeff Sandys. And from Austria, Hubert Gundolf. I don't believe these are real.
Hubert Gundolf.
Like these are just like ChatGPT.
Yeah, there's nothing on Hubert Gundolf except that he was at the 1976.
Even Finland is Olavi Koppa. Like it's just like they've just
I didn't know they had
ChatGPT
in 1976.
Apparently do. But Colin Coates, legend, absolute icon. That's speed skating. I love the sport. Can't wait to see it in person. It's going to be fun. Our next sport we are doing, because we've got Connor on next month, and I love to shame Connor because when we put it out there, we said, hey, Connor, you want to come on the show? Absolutely would love to come on the show. Great. Yep, cool. What would you like to do as a sport? Oh, I'd love to do skiing. All right, that might need a little bit more information on that one, Connor. So we've given him alpine skiing, so he gets to do the track and field of the Olympics. You haven't quite yet secured a date yet here for things, Jamie. Now I can see the next available slot might be tricky. It's the episode that will air on the 29th of December, so it's in that week between Christmas and New Year. Obviously, you're a family man, so you probably wouldn't be available on that one, but if I'm to at least give you the option of a sport, do you want to know what is left for you to choose for your next one?
Lay it on me.
All right, so you have got 6 sports to choose from. You can do bobsleigh, cross-country skiing, curling, ice hockey hasn't been chosen yet, Nordic combined, or ski jumping.
any chance I get to talk about ice hockey, yeah, I'll take ice hockey. I feel like
it'd be fun to get Colin, like get you both on. Get the North American like rivals on. I think that could be a fun one.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So maybe we'll pencil you in somewhere for January. I'm going to loosely put you down for the 5th of January episode. Obviously, we'll confirm a little bit closer. I'm going to put ice hockey, but I'm also going to try and get Colin on that one as well for that one because I feel you can't have an ice hockey episode without a Canadian. So, you know.
But we're going to speak before then. We've got some other things to talk about.
Look at you, Mr. Segway. You are the man with this. Yes, we are up to our next Olympic review, and we're off to the Great Paris 1900 Games that technically weren't Olympics until many years later. I'm excited. At the time of us recording this, we're actually recording it this week, and it will air obviously a few bits out of there. And I haven't quite gotten my research started yet. I will be honest, but I'm going to do a little bit better than last month. I promise. Any thoughts? Excited? You started your research at Paris 1900. Get excited.
Oh, sure. Isn't this is one of the ones that went on for like 7 months?
It's still going. I think it just ended. Yeah. Gone for 125 years, the Paris 1900 Olympics.
No, I'm excited for it. There's good stuff to talk about.
And we're actually we're going to be doing it very closely straight after St. Louis because it's basically like a month afterwards. The way because we basically postponed 1 month that ends up being two very close to each other. Did I say St. Louis? St. Louis? Am I very French?
St. Louis.
I just went from Paris to St. Louis.
St. Louis.
St. Louis. Which gets even more batshit crazy. But we've got a couple of fun ones to talk about. So I'm pumped for that. So you can rile Colin up a little bit about your ice hockey rivalry in the lead up to January next year. So that will be exciting. But we're also getting close to a very exciting month in September that we're going to be celebrating 25 years of the Sydney Olympics. So our next newscast will be sort of in the middle period of when we're actually talking a lot about Sydney Olympics. But we're going to essentially be having about 5 episodes celebrating those Olympics, 4 episodes, I should say. So we've got 2 gold medalists from Australia from those Sydney Olympics, who I'm very excited. We've got 2 interviews with those athletes, and we also will be doing our opening ceremony review that we're just, rather than drawing out of the hat, thanks to Andrew Hedges, we've gone, fuck it, we're just going to do the Sydney 2000 one because we've been frothing at the bit to do that opening ceremony for a long time on this podcast. And the one that I'm very excited about too, we're just going to do a generic 25-year celebration episode, and we're bringing back on this podcast, good friend of ours, Joanna Griggs, great Australian sports television personality, an icon of Australian sports media. She was obviously covering the games back in 2000 for Channel 7. She's going to come back on and share some of her memories from those 16 days in September and celebrate what I believe is 2 of the greatest weeks in Australian history, but I'm biased. I'm an Olympic fan. So, you know, we don't have as many Olympics as you guys have hosted to celebrate from. And I wasn't alive for Melbourne in 1956. So got to celebrate the one that I was alive for and remember as a 13-year-old. And I found all my things that I kept. Now that I've moved and I got all my boxes, I found my, random crap that I've got from the Sydney 2000 Olympics, so I can talk about
all your swag. Oh.
I've got all my notebooks, my notes that I kept, my little scrapbooks, my hand-drawn medal tables. I've got them all. I found a hang on, I'm stepping away from the microphone because it's literally behind me. I found this. This is literally like a book I've got. This is Ben Waterworth in like the early 2000s creating Olympic era. There's Alyssa Camplin after Salt Lake City, right? And, there's a lovely picture from our water polo winning gold medalist. Actually, no, sorry, that's our basketball silver medalist, Ben. What am I talking about? There's silver medals under that. But, look, just...
Wow,
here's one
that is commitment.
Here's a couple. You know this lovely man right there that I've cut out there from the Sydney 2000 Olympics, Mr. Maurice Green. Look at that man. And one that I don't know if I'm allowed to show anymore because I think she's well and truly been cancelled, but there she is.
Is that Marion? She's bouncing back.
She's bouncing back.
She's
taking some more drugs.
She's all right.
Has she? Or, but just the level of look at this.
She's kind of done a little bit of a.
This is me meeting some of our medalists at our welcome home parade with, signatures and photos. And I'll show this for people who are watching this right now. I'll show more of this in our anniversary run. But do you want to see a lovely picture of how old was I then? A 10-year-old Ben wearing an Atlanta bronze medal. Here's one from you there. Wearing Tim O'Shaughnessy's bronze medal. There you go. And then me with a great Tasmanian swimmer, Scott Goodman. I think that was when they had all these like parades traveling the country, you know, getting people pumped up for the Olympics in the year 2000. So, yeah, Sydney 2000. You remember it? You were alive?
Sure.
You're more
Sure.
alive than
I was actually, it was felt fun. It was interesting because I was living in London at the time. So I got a very all-American version of Olympic coverage. It was a little bit more
Stephen
diverse.
Redgrave crazy, I could imagine, in London in 2000.
Sure.
That was,
Sure.
as an Australian, we got all that hype down here. So there you go. But that's coming up next month. Remember, if you like the show, off the podiumpod.com, you can find all the links to all of our channels, social media, YouTube, everything. If you're listening to this in audio, we do a video version of this one. You're not missing much on this one. It's just Jamie and our faces. He's a beautiful man. I'm not. And put a few pictures up. Makes it look pretty. Why not? But more newscasts coming. Great interviews alongside the ones that I've already teased. So many things coming. And Jamie will be back to talk about Paris 1900 very, very shortly. But it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome back, and thank you very much for getting up early.
The pleasure is all mine.
It is.
I'm honored. Thank you for having me.
You should be, and don't you forget it. If you've enjoyed today's episode, my name has been Ben Water. If you haven't, it's been Noah Groves. We'll speak to you next time. Good night.